All right. Can anyone hear me in the chat? Mic check 1 2 1 2. I don't know if anybody can hear me. Shit. Okay. Put my volume up. Can anybody hear me in the chat now? Hmm. Yeah, I think I'm still having some headphone issues. Push one in the chat if you can hear me. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah, the Zoom app needed to be updated and it crashed on me. I had to reboot my system. Now just getting back in, I had to delete the last scheduled show and then start all over again. So that's why I'm late. But thank you though. Thank you for all the confirmation, man. There's a link in the chat if any of you all want to get on the panel. If you want to get on the panel, definitely click on the link. You'll be in the waiting room. Raise your hand so you can be acknowledged. This is only for people who have seen the movie. If you have not seen the movie, don't bother coming on to the panel because you won't understand what we're talking about. But if you've seen the movie at this point, join the panel because you might have a clear understanding of what we're talking about. For those who have not seen the movie, I don't think there's going to be any spoilers in this because we're looking at a context, a situation that's within the context of this discussion.
No spoilers. They got to see
the
the
like
movie
button
first.
if you're not going to participate in the chat. I think Nagon's having technical difficulties.
Can you hear me, Mike? Mike, can you hear me?
What happens with him?
1 second. Mike, can you hear me?
Yo, this guy Ed in the chat is a funny dude, man. He's a funny ass dude. For some reason, Nagone can't be advanced to the panel. I can't hit Nagone. You're not being advanced to the panel. You might have to log off and log back on. Kendra D, what's going on? Yeah, can anybody else join the panel? Because I don't know if Nagone's having some kind of technical difficulties or if I need to shut down the Zoom. This is only for the people who have seen the movie. If you have not seen the movie yet, especially not on bootleg, don't be bootlegging nothing, because you won't understand what we're talking about. Please hit the like button as you come in. Oh, Tot City's on here. So yeah, there's something going on with Nagone's app.
Yeah,
Make
we
sure
here.
before you all join the panel, make sure you update the app, because I think there's a recent update that went out maybe this morning or last night or something like that. I had the same issue a few minutes ago. That's why I couldn't start the hangout.
Can you hear me, Mike? Mike, can you hear me?
I can hear Nagone.
You can hear me, right?
Yep.
What's up, Complete?
What's up, man? Yeah,
Tri
can you hear
City,
me?
what it do?
Can you
Hey.
guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hey, Mike, I haven't seen the movie, but I've been seeing a lot of thumbnails and stuff about people being triggered and whatnot. So, yeah.
You all can hear Nagone. How
Yeah,
come I can't hear Nagone? Who else is in the?
Mike,
I can hear both of you.
you can't hear me?
I can hear Nagoon.
Yeah, Mike.
Man, I'm not sure what's going on with Mike's head joints there.
Yeah.
White man might get him. Might have got him. Incel.
White man might have got the Joker man got his ass. Because the Joker though, he getting ready to catch it tonight.
Yo, Mike, where you at, man?
Mike, where you at? Damn, I think the Joker got that. Got that dude. The Joker got him.
Damn, you know, hey, real talk, man. Shit, they may not want one of this shit to happen tonight.
Nah, dog, because you know something. We getting ready to get kind of live up in here.
Okay, I can hear you guys now. Yeah.
Oh, you
That's
There
what
you go.
you there, yeah.
Yeah, I had some issues with my headset, man. Going crazy.
you you got to get a more select headset, man.
Yeah.
You got a non-select headset?
It's let's not select, fan. That's oh shit, man. Rainy Woman said an incel got your ass. Oh shit.
Yeah, I thought I was by myself there for a second. Yeah, this but yeah, let's get into Complex. Did you see it?
No, not yet, man. But I mean, I'm familiar with the whole, Batman pantheon. This is an interesting spin on the Joker, storyline.
Yo.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, man, it's gonna be complex by design to actually understand what we're talking about.
It's gonna be
Oh snap!
By its design, it's gonna be kind of complex. So you got so we'll have to see how this works for you, fam. We got to get somebody on here who has seen this joint as well.
Yeah, I know the Crimson Cure has seen it. I don't know if she'd be willing to come up, man, and really give her analysis. But this is serious, man. This speaks volumes about what Hollywood is perceiving to go down. Here's my analysis, man, because I saw it the first night it came out Thursday. First thing I noticed is that there is an extended amount of Black female faces in the movie.
Oh,
That's number one.
nice.
But they've also figured out a way to position all of these stereotypes of a Black woman, even in Gotham.
Unfortunately, I'm going to say this.
Do I want to be on this panel?
Hold on a second. Be careful. Be careful, Holmes. It depends on where you got to go. Be careful. Be careful. But hold on. Now let me say this. Phillips, who directed this, and got really live with it, there is the only way he could have portrayed this the way he did, the Joker, the Black female factor in there, was he had to have firsthand experience himself. I don't know if he had any children with any one of them, but he has been up in there. He's been in there. Deep.
Mm-hmm.
Deep. Go ahead.
You have all of these various characters of Black women in certain positions. You had the single Black mother.
Yes,
you had the psychologist, or the city council worker, civil service worker. Sorry,
civil service.
You had the Black woman on the bus with the child. Could have been a single mother, very mammy-ish. And then you had the Black woman at the end.
And what was her position? Do you remember what her position was?
She was some kind of psych ward.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
This, and I don't want to critique this brother's or this guy's looks, but he represents everything of what an incel is supposed to be. Basically, he would be, Elliot Rodgers in Gotham.
Yeah.
And
you're talking about Joaquin Phoenix?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. One spoiler, I'll say the character's name is Arthur. We'll just leave it at that. Anyway,
right. And here you have this realistic incel who is crushing on this sort of Black woman in the elevator, who she makes a pass at. She gives him the vibe that she's available. He's interested. He catches a body. He goes on to her door and he smashes. And no one questions the validity of something like this going down.
Okay, I see where this is going. Wait.
Oh, by the way, spoiler alerts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, because for the folks who didn't see it, I don't want to, I know there may be some spoiler reviews out there. I haven't seen all the spoiler reviews, but there may be some spoiler reviews out there. I don't feel, if folks have not seen this movie as of yet, I'm not trying to, really, because this is going to be kind of tough. But there was he did smash out. She was a single mom. He did smash it out. Mike, how did that Black woman look? What kind of look did she have? How did she look?
She had the natural look, but she was, in my opinion, she would be a select woman, a select sister. And I just find that so interesting that they fit this character into the movie. They could have found 1,000 other characters, 100 other characters of female out there, but they found this Black woman.
Gives a whole new notion to the thought of a select woman, huh?
Right. Well,
I wasn't expecting this.
Okay, select woman, but see, this is what kind of bothered me. I believe this is how I saw it. I believe the Joker character. This is. I don't want to give a lot away, but the Joker character, he wasn't fully Joker down, but But at the end, but he kind of stalked her. You know, he was a creepy dude, a creepy dude, a bottom bread type. Where you know, this is the kind of woman that would probably curve a Mike V, or good shot at curving a complex design, a highly butter. These are butter-laid cats, you know. But yet, you know, here she was, a bottom bred, no rhomboids, no traps, 12-inch arms, looking like genetically inferior. But here he was stalking and in cold smashing on a sister, and I thought there was a lot of truth to that. There was there was a lot of truth to it. That's why I said Phillips, he knew what he was doing here, and basically it, in my view, as a Joker review, just looking at this from our perspective, this was a very critical commentary on America. He went in on the white boys. He went in on them. I'm sorry, folks may look at it differently. He went in on gray boy America. He went in on them. He went in on the 1%ers, and he went in on these slight incel, sucker-laid, no rhomboid, no traps, you know, sunken in chest, sucked up looking, crazy, pissed off, you know, entitled, you know, who would be entitled, you know, gray boys who are basically nothing but vanilla covered niggas to a certain degree, and they played that out there, showed him what he was, showed you what it was.
Yeah, a Gotham white trash, basically.
Gotham white trash, but yet he had access to butter-laid booty that looked butter-laid, at least. You know, I mean,
she would be considered in the conscious community. She would be a select woman. But what I want to say is, let's go back to the original, the first black woman, right? The civil service woman, the mental health worker.
Very important to break this down.
Right. So you have this mental health worker who she herself embodies all of the characteristics of a gynocentric woman.
But it was a black woman, and they put this sucker-laid gray boy who had all kind of problems. They put her in charge of his brain. I'll just leave it at that. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Wait a minute.
Did you see this, Ty?
I have to see it now.
No. Don't say anything, man. Don't say anything.
2 plus 2 equals.
I haven't seen it, but
because it's going to be hard for you to understand what myself, Nagone, and maybe even Crimson Cure might be coming from.
I'm listening.
Yeah. So just mute up. But so you have this mental health worker who embodies all the principles of what we would know as a gynocentric black woman in Gotham. Why is this character written into the movie?
I'm telling you, this guy has had experience. I'm telling you, this guy has had experience with this.
I think
this was not an accident.
I think he's a subscriber in the Manosphere.
I mean, I was about to say we
knew you were gonna go there, Mike. I knew you were gonna go there.
Watch the Red Pill Space on YouTube. There are a lot of people that watch us. We may never see them comment on any, comment section or chat room. But I know for a fact that there are quite a few prominent people, famous people actually, that watch all of us.
Well, Nagone can also confirm.
I can attest.
He can confirm that one too. Yes.
I can confirm that firsthand.
Yeah, but that's the case. But with the movie, it's difficult to talk about it with people who haven't seen it because it is atypical of an origin story for a comic book character. But they are kind of poking fun to a certain degree at the gynocracy, but they are also putting it where it belongs, which are in key positions over a man.
Mm-hmm.
and basically giving him the script for his life. And the first person that does this is his, of course, his mother.
Is his mother, yeah. Who let him down, by the way. Let him down in many ways.
In which she didn't even have a whole lot of choices, because I mean we can't even say, because I guess that would, because that's kind of pivotal. What her issues are. You know what I'm saying? Her issues are rather deep. And so therefore she almost, I'm not gonna say didn't have a choice, but I don't know if she knew better.
Mm-hmm.
Or if she could have. But regardless of whether
she knew better. She knew better,
uh,
but chose not to do anything. There's a reason for that. When you look back through it again, she knew better. She chose not to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
well, see, we need to talk about this among those of us who watched it, because I was gonna do a spoiler show anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it here.
Yeah.
Already
Yeah.
done.
No.
It's like you guys had a week to watch it, but you could. I support bootlegs, but anyway. But there's a reason why I say it. This isn't a defense of her,
Mm-hmm.
but she had some issues, some really deep-seated ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so she passed those to him. I mean, because his whole thing was living in this paradigm of what his mother told him, and actually trying to live up to something that his mother told him, which was patently untrue.
Did his mother know the truth?
I don't think she could discern the truth.
I believe she did.
I believe
she did the whole thing. But anyway, okay.
What she told him, I think she believed it.
We'll move on. She, as I said, she knew. Cause see, I know women. They know what's up, but they run certain things a certain way. This was in their. They feel this was in their interest to run things a certain way. So she ran it a certain way, and she let him down. I'll just leave it like that, and then let him roll up into this gynocracy where he was getting his mind basically shrunk, and there was this black woman who was there, who was typical of a black female functionary in the role, functionally incompetent to handle what his issue was.
Mm-hmm.
He expressed that as well, and the downward spiral really was accelerated from there, in my view.
But the black women who were in the movie in the capacity of help, as far as his counselors or social workers, I think that they represented the gynocracy from the standpoint, especially when you think about the attitude, was highly dismissive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Dismissive.
what we experience here when we try to engage in conversation or try to have a dialogue, the first thing that comes about is the dismissiveness of your issues. Like, okay, your issues aren't my issues, so therefore they are not important to me.
Well, what was his major complaint when he talked to her? What was one of his key complaints?
That she didn't listen. That she didn't listen to him, and that's what I'm talking about, the dismissiveness, because she heard everything that he said. She just wasn't responding to that.
And basically was kind of looking at her as kind of a waste of time, right? She was kind of useless, wasn't she?
As tits on a bull, because she couldn't even give him an answer to where else he could receive help.
That is correct. And it was a black female functionary doing this. I do not think that was at all accidental or just to have a minority in the role. I think there was a statement there. I believe Phillips has had firsthand experience. I believe he has. He made some very harsh commentary in this film. Very harsh. He was hard on white boys as well. Very harsh on the white boys. Very harsh on the 1%.
And you don't see the single white mother, right? That's beyond his mother, his initial mother, or his custodian. Beyond that, there is no such thing as a single white mother, right? This, the first thing you run into is a black single mother in Gotham. Like that's telling to me.
Wrapping her arm around a young black boy while he's supposed to be playing with this kid, but when he looked at this kid's face, he had no smile on it.
Well, that's the woman on the bus, but the woman on the elevator.
Yeah. Yes. Okay,
right.
Go
the
ahead.
woman on the elevator is a different story.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say this: I was low key relieved when it got to the end to reveal what was real and what wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I was like, oh God, okay, yeah. Because it was so weird to have such a interaction between him and that woman. Mm-hmm. It was such a weird set of interactions. It's like, okay, this is not how that goes. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? This isn't how that goes at all. This is, I mean, you don't interact with a guy like him with these responses.
Well, he was the Joker at that point in time, wasn't he?
No.
What are you talking about in the end?
Well, at the end, we find out some other stuff.
Yeah, but he was, but he had basically he had made his transformation to the Joker.
Well, at the end he did, but before that, this is where all these interactions are happening prior to, which didn't make any sense. But they made sense at the end, though.
And he got live as fuck. Pardon my expression.
Actually, he didn't.
He was getting live. He was getting.
Once he became the Joker, it was an interesting transformation for him, because even his whole body language changed.
Yeah.
And in fact, he didn't look. He looked younger. He looked more alive, and with purpose, actually. So that was an interesting physical change.
Well, it was a metamorphosis. It was almost like he was, he
became red pilled. That's what happened.
Well, I don't know about you
he became red pilled, and this is what I'm saying. There are a couple of things happening in this movie, and this is why I did one of my videos about it.
Became red pill.
He becomes red pill. The only thing about this is that this is what Hollywood, because we can't forget that this is a Hollywood production. So they're going to have a bias and they're going to have a spin to it that is unfavorable. Okay. Red pill is unfavorable. So
you're a woman. So you're talking about red pill. What do you mean by that? Because obviously I got issues with that with females coming to Manosphere to my red pill.
Red pill the whole time.
I think it's kind of oxymoronic, but anyway,
why?
What do you mean? Nah, we gonna get all into that. We gonna get on into that because it's kind of late. I gotta get up tomorrow. But anyway, what do you mean by red pill?
Red pill is just.
Pardon me if I ask.
The red pill is what it is. It is the coming to the truth, to actually understand the structure and the matrix for what it is, and actually reacting to it the way that you should, because you see it for what it is and not what you have been told that it is.
Well, okay, you're talking about that in the red pill. I would take him at a much deeper rate. I would take him.
He's actually something else.
I would take him much deeper than that. But anyway,
I did a whole video on what he actually is, because I think that Hollywood wanted to slander and confuse what red pill actually is by creating a character that is an incel and that is dangerous, and attaching that concept to the concept of red pill, which actually doesn't belong. It doesn't belong. He doesn't belong there. But I think that's what the commentary, what they wanted to say, is that this is the type of person that you would find in the so-called red pill community, somebody that's dangerous. like I said, I did a whole video that I would have to recap my whole video to actually get out the entire thought. But I think that they meaning mainstream society, via this movie, is
I
conflating the definitions.
yeah, and I agree with I agree with you on that. That they're purposely misleading people or through a disinformation campaign.
Yeah.
There's definitely people who study social media now. I think I forget their name. They're like social media or content content specialists or something like that. I forget the exact term YouTube actually uses and Facebook actually uses to define these people, but they actually are intelligence gatherers. They basically do in cybersecurity we call them threat intelligence analysts, but in social media there's a special term for them, and they do retrieve they're basically involved in the culture, but they actually do this sort of information gathering, and they would be involved in a disinformation campaign. This is how they came up with the whole entire Russian bot scandal and stuff like that. That's the sort of things that they do. But I agree with Kendra on this. But I just think that in a movie like The Joker, and you stick all of these black female faces into it, man, it speaks volumes as to what kind of message they're trying to put out there. Because the black males in the movie are not really effective in any real way, right? They just exist, right? They're kind of, street furniture for lack of a better description. They're just a prop for the movie.
Because I don't even remember any black men in that movie. Where were they?
They were in the locker room, right? The brother who was cracking jokes.
Yeah.
I think there was like a bum on the street. I think there was like a bum on the street or something like that. They were all of these ineffective characters, but all the black women had prominent roles in the movie that really were
they were key.
Yeah,
and they were key for him specifically.
Yep. Nagone, you and I talked about this a few nights ago, but all the black women were always put in proximity to the white male, right?
They were.
To the incel. They're always in proximity to him. And he always has access to these characters either through verbal communication or physical altercation.
Yep, I would absolutely agree.
So I just find that part interesting. If you all have not seen the movie, man, it is so difficult for you to understand. I know some people in the chat are saying, "Oh, you guys are looking too deeply into this." No, bullshit.
No, we're not enough. You can actually peel this one back several layers.
You gotta see this.
There are several layers to him. You can look at it from various aspects of his character to discern. I mean, ultimately, this is the Joker that we're talking about, but they've given a more realistic reason for why he is the way that he is, which actually makes sense. I personally think that Joaquin's performance of the Joker is, and I may be a heretic for saying it, better than Heath Ledger's performance of the Joker. And I can actually see how Joaquin's Joker would lead to Heath Ledger's Joker. I actually can see that metamorphosis. I don't know if anybody else would agree with that, but I can kind of see how that Joker evolves into Heath Ledger's Joker that we see in Batman.
Yeah.
Well, everything has its origin story. You know what I mean, and especially the narrative of the transition, right? And then there's like the time when the master does his best work, right? There's these stages, But it's interesting to note who was instrumental, let's just say, in his formative Joker years.
Yeah, Dave in the chat says, if you watch Netflix, there are a lot of TV series and movies that have white men in proximity to black women that might be. Yeah, I agree with that. But I'm saying in regards to this movie, because this movie should never have anything to do with what they're talking about. I mean,
In my view, there's no way that this could have been Phillips. He didn't do this accidentally. He did not do that accidentally. I sat there and said, nah. And I was with, my lady friend, and she agreed. We disagreed on some things, but she agreed with that. I'll tell you that. She agreed with that.
Yeah, you have this sort of Elliot Rogers character going up in this Sister Raw, and no one questions this. We're looking too deeply into this, though, right?
I had a joke, but I'm not going to say it.
Well, I mean, because we referenced, Nagone, you and I referenced this back to Monsters Ball, right? With
Yes,
Halle Berry.
Did.
Yeah, that's what I was about to go there. But
yes, we did. And it's the same kind of dudes, man. These bottom bred looking, no traps, sucker laid looking, highly unselect looking, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they are cold swaggering. So I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
This was not accidental. I'm sorry. It just wasn't. I know there'll be those will have to see that. I mean, you guys.
Dude, nothing that is scripted is accidental.
Exactly.
Nah,
Hollywood
man,
knows exactly what they're doing.
Okay?
Hey, that's
nothing that is scripted is accidental.
This man has had firsthand experience. He knows what he was doing. He knows what he's talking about.
Well, he may have had consultants, man. May have had consultants. Some black people like the Grapevine and all these other platforms, man. These people want to be experts on black culture, and they probably gave this guy the business. That's possible.
Nah.
To your point is probably more true than not. But I was in the movie theater with my jaw dropped. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this.
There's no way that this was any type of accident. No chance.
So
and the commentary that he was making, I think on black women to a certain degree in this effed up matrix that we have here in this country. This was rather telling as well. This is not accidental. It really stuck out, and I was shocked that he was calling us out. I was shocked he was calling a lot of stuff out.
I have a question.
How he was calling it out.
Anyway, I have a question. And I guess I don't want to interject. Are you guys still analyzing the stuff, or because the question kind of relates to what we're talking about here? But I wanted to get people's response from it. So how maybe Kendra, maybe you want to you're the sister on the panel, so to get your viewpoint, not necessarily your opinion or your own personal take. I already know your position on it, but what do you think is how do you think like sisters would perceive this, what we're talking about, right? So sitting down, the average sister, like, do they silently approve? Does it resonate? Will they vehemently disagree? You know what I mean? Like I really want to understand kind of like what, when they look at this, like what's going on in their heads.
I think the average Black woman, if I could venture to speak there, I don't think that it would be, especially the romantic side of the interactions, right? I don't think that they would welcome it so much as raise an eyebrow to see how that plays out, because while it may speak to one side of a fantasy or part of the white womanhood mythology or the seeking of it, it may speak to one part of it, but he's a little too far on the spectrum. There's a difference between getting a white guy that might not be so up to par and getting a whole incel. That's a totally different guy. That's a guy with a lot of social issues and a lot of problems relating to people. A lot of problems. So I don't know that they would welcome that one with open arms. Maybe if he had always been the Joker that he becomes in the end, and the difference between the two is one is insecure, he's withdrawn, even his physical posturing is withdrawn,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end he has all this swagger and he's bad boy at the end of that. So if he
He
had
becomes
always
select.
been that Joker, then they
Mhm.
probably would have been like, yeah, that's a feasible, reasonable relationship and one that I might want to find myself in one day. But him as the incel pre-Joker like form, that's like a huh? Because I know I was sitting in the theater like, huh?
Yeah.
What are we really
Did,
doing?
but you saw. I'm just going to ask this, throw this out here, let you guys. Did you guys see him when he started to take a leadership role? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Mike, you want to expand on that a little bit?
What about his leadership role are you referring to?
You know, to my, I don't want to, man, I'm not trying to give any spoilers here.
No, it's too late now. It's too late, man. 7-day period, man.
7-day
Get your
period.
Give the spoiler.
Yeah, get your weight up, man. Get your weight up.
You know, when he was, you know, kind of take, kind of in charge of, the clowns, if you will.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, he becomes the select guy, right? He becomes the alpha male, within a day or so, or within a few hours. That's interesting, man, because the gripes that they have in the streets, and that he has, as a joker, man. Many black men for a long time have had that same sort of gripes, and they're not allowed to express themselves in that fashion. And that's my interpretation of that. It's suddenly he comes, he's coming to I guess an enlightenment of or an epiphany of way the world is. However, yeah, it's an interesting position for him to take at that point.
Yeah. I'm with Big Game. I don't think he so much takes charge as he's hoisted as the face of a movement that he actually didn't have anything to do with. Like
That
their gripes as a group were not his gripes as an individual.
Hmm.
He wasn't concerned about who had the wealth and who didn't.
Right.
That was the concern of the people.
Hmm.
And they took his actions that he did on that train as a commentary on the rich versus the poor, which he was
Hmm.
never thinking about that. He was so far into his own world that he never thought about that. That was their doing. And at the end, he is not their leader as far as he's gonna now run them. He looks around to find that they are looking to him
Hmm.
as a figurehead, and he like basks in the ambiance of
Hmm.
finally being seen
Hmm.
and finally being noticed by all, which is
Yep.
what he had been yearning to have, is visibility, which is something that he didn't have. So he would have been more or less content with that part of it. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? That was enough for him, I think, to have to just be seen. And I think it snowballs because obviously he's the Joker and he doesn't stop, right? He
Right.
doesn't stop that night. So many things are given birth to. He's given birth to that day, and so is Batman. And
Hmm.
so is the Gotham that we come to know, the city that is in almost a constant state of unrest.
and what he saw was at the end. He decided. I think came to a conclusion whether he was going to kill himself or was he going to get what he considered to be vengeance.
Hmm.
And he chose vengeance. He chose vengeance.
Hmm.
He chose vengeance. This guy decided he was going to fix it. He was going to He was gonna go after the top grade boys. He's gonna go after everybody else. Mm-hmm. And that little role he played, I said, being a leader or coming out being a leader, that empowered him. That empowered him to make that move. But remember, he's a very sick guy. He's a very sick guy. I don't know if you guys saw the movie The Kings of Comedy, and I think I had a lot of parallels there. And he, you saw how he treated the De Niro character and all that. You just saw a lot of things that let this guy know he's getting ready to take his chunk. He's getting ready to stake his claim, and it's going to be about vengeance. But anyway, go ahead. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not, but that's exactly how I saw it.
I agree with that. And again, going back to the characters, the woman on the bus with her son, interesting perspective, random characterization into a movie like that. Very interesting, so to speak. Her attitude was that of a modern day Black woman, even for that time.
And the little black boy was you.
Was what?
You. Me. Arm around. Let me cover this. If you saw, how many black men did you see in that movie?
Oh, there had to be what? You had the black male clerk. You had the black men in the locker room. I think there was a couple of random black men on the street.
So would that be a commentary on the actual invisible men here are black men?
Right.
The invisible black man, and ultimately you're still a child. Here's this little black mama covering you on the train. That little black boy was you, representative of you black man. And the Joker, who was supposed to be playing with that child, goofing around with him, looked at him. You're supposed to be smiling, right? When you play with a kid. I see little kids, hey, stop me fire, I'm smiling with him. He wasn't smiling. Wasn't smiling, was he?
Yeah.
Very serious commentary on these white boys and what's up.
And you're all non-select, by the way.
On the movie, yeah, they were very well. I wouldn't say they were non-select, but they were very ineffective. They've served no real purpose other than to be a prop for the movie.
You're basically non-select then.
Well, they were selected to be a prop.
They were selected.
Well, see, I don't even know if we can categorize them because that was the level of invisibility.
Right.
So
we're being facetious. We're being facetious.
Yeah. We're being facetious on that one, but they made some key breakdowns. This was a very strong commentary on our society, and I thought the way he wove a lot of things in there was I quite frank. I saw somebody in the chat earlier say this was a masterpiece, and I think the more and more you see it, the more and more it becomes that I think this guy was really good with this. He was really good. Joaquin Phoenix also, he played it very, very, very well. But then again, he understands some of that. His brother was River Phoenix, who died on a drug overdose, was supposed to be the next guy to step up and be the big player, but he went out like he went out, he didn't go out the way he was supposed to. And, I think some of that came into this role as well. If people can make some of the connections there, but yeah, I thought this was heavy duty stuff. Because this was supposed to be a cartoon character, the Joker. It was a cartoon character.
Right.
You look at the old Batman series, with Adam West and all them, with the campy side of it, and then you look at some of the comics where he was looking kind of crazy and and very kind of over the top. Here, this was a pretty scary guy. This was a commentary. This was the beginning of a ferocious terrorist. I didn't see anything comic book character about this character at all.
No,
I didn't see him as a comic book character at all.
The timing of the storyline is relevant to what's about to happen next year, right? We talk about the looming recession, right? That's coming by 2020, 2021. We read an article last week that talked about this, that there will be blood in the streets from a chief financial officer on one of these big retail institutions and said there will be blood in the streets if it gets any worse, right? What happened in this movie is what could actually happen in the United States and probably in some of these major urban areas. Except, it might not just be Black people going buck wild. It could be the mayonnaise people too, going buck wild. So
yeah. I mean, he as I said, he went in on the mayonnaise people here. He went in on his own as well. He went in. In fact, he went in on them hard. Mm-hmm. So and we looked at Bruce Wayne's father. Why am I forgetting his first name? Who
help us out, Crimson?
Why am I forgetting his name? Dr. Wayne, his first name. Bruce Wayne's father. Come on.
Thomas Wayne?
Yeah.
Y'all can hear me?
Your mic is low.
Yeah, I was having a senior moment there. Yeah. But yeah, he look at the kind of character he played. He was supposed to be more of a beneficent character before, and and all that.
But he was Trump, though, right?
Well, I don't know if he was Trump. I was kind of looking at him kind of as Trumpian, but I was also
you said Trump.
Trump, but I was also kind of looking at him like a Nelson Rockefeller type of guy that I knew back in the past. Mm-hmm. But he was a very classic representative, I would say, of the ultra wealthy, super white boys out here, and looking at everybody else kind of like you sum up the bottom of my shoes, and kind of slap the boy up, real quick, slap his ass up, let him know you ain't shit, motherfucker, get the fuck out of here. You just, just the way he responded was shocking. This was not supposed to be how, the Waynes were originally portrayed. And he came off as a typical kind of, semi-psychotic, if you will, one percenters who were like, man, step up to the plate, step the fuck down. You fuck out of here. You guys are garbage. You're something off the bottom of my shoes, basically. Too hard. It's kind of how we played it. So I found that quite interesting, and I thought I was like, wow.
Yeah, well, we get a different view of the Waynes in this movie because we're not getting Batman's view of his team.
Yeah.
So, his view is going to not only be good, but romanticized because he's a little boy when they die. And all that he has ever known of them is his loving parent. He didn't know how the people of Gotham saw them. So in this movie, we're getting the other side, how somebody on the outside of Wayne Manor would look at a Thomas Wayne and how they would feel about him. How they see him. Do they see him as this, as Gotham's benefactor, this benevolent benefactor, or do they see him as an elitist, somebody who thinks he's better than them? So different view.
In the rest, when you kind of, you look through it, and especially what I'm looking at, especially the Nolan films, which I think were were quite masterful themselves. In that trilogy, the backdrop was Thomas Wayne and Wayne Manor and what he created, and Alfred, who was also portrayed in this movie, as less than a kind of a considerate character as well here, to a degree. It was all portrayed as you got the feeling that this was that Thomas Wayne was this tremendous benefactor, and the underground cave, where ultimately this is where it was part of the Underground Railroad, where he was apparently he was down with this against slavery, and black people came through there and got there, we were able to make their way through this Gotham City to go up north to Canada to freedom and all this kind of stuff. So you had this real beneficent, this benefactor, if you will, of the Wayne family. But now you see he's just a member of the 1%, and he was, kind of a cold, callous, kind of, hardcore, kind of, white boy who just didn't give a fuck, and you saw that, I thought it was a very critical look at him, and he was representative of that wealthy white patrician class, that was, I think, was portrayed in a relatively negative light. in quite of a negative light. And I think, there's no question about it. It was no accident. We know that was by design. And, I thought that was rather interesting, and that played a very key role also in the Joker's, in this kid's, in Arthur's transformation, in my view, to the Joker, and how he wanted vengeance against this. How I think at the end, I don't even want to give away that spoiler. In my view, I think people need to see that themselves. But
yep.
I can understand why the Joker wanted Batman around. I'll just leave that alone. I'll leave that there.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, brother. Put some volume on your mic, though.
Let me see. How about now?
We can hear you. What's on your mind, bro?
I just want to add a little bit of commentary to, they're talking, like, I know most of the black people they showed on the film were black women, but I was kind of thinking of it like this, like, women in general, like, for kids and all adults, women are like people's orientation into the world. So his first orientation to the world is his mother. She's, she has her issues. If people don't have that, then, most guys, they go out and they try to join, get guidance from society. From the movie, you see he's totally kicked out of the white male elite sector. He has no chance there. And even from the guys at his regular job, even the lower working class guys see him as lowly. So I think the reason why they show most of the people that are trying to help him as black, because ultimately he gets denied by like the lowest people on the totem pole. Because they could have made all those characters any race. The psychiatrist, the cute little natural hair chick, even the administrative worker guy that was at the psychiatric ward. That brother.
Yep.
He was kind of cool. He was like trying to help him out a little bit. All these characters that are trying to help him out were black, but they all saw. Yeah, it was the clerk. They all saw him as odd. So he couldn't get accepted by even the lowest people on the totem pole. I think that's, at least in my opinion, that's really the reason why he made all those characters black. And the reason why he made most of the black characters women is because his mom's messed up, but he's even getting denied by the black women.
Yeah, but even the black women, they weren't even trying to help. His bottom line, they weren't even trying to help.
Exactly. So he's not even.
They were incompetent. Anyway, go ahead.
He's getting denied by even the lowest people on the totem pole, lowest women on the totem pole. So it's not surprising that after, the big reveal with the natural hair chick, he really starts to snap.
Yeah, and she's attractive, right? She's attractive. If they would have really blew the movie up if they would have put Lupita Nyong'o in that position, right? It really really turned it up there, right? And and put Whoopi Goldberg as his mother or something like that. Just that would have sent a blatant message as to what their intentions are. But they kind of pussyfooted around with this, man, for lack of a better term to describe it. But I just find like I said, I'm in the movie theater and I'm looking and I'm like scratching my little bit, man. Like, what is going on here, man? I know this.
And that's why I said it made sense in the end, because it was such a head scratcher until when he has all these watershed moments. It's like, oh, okay. And then because we know what's happening once she reacts the way she does to him in the end.
Well, I wasn't surprised by it at all. People seem to, I didn't like how did it? Nah, man. I only thing I'd say this is that I know some white guys. I have some white friends. I was in the gym. We talked about it. Some people were disturbed. Some cats are disturbed about the movie. I understand why. I understand why.
Yeah, I saw that there was a lot of pushback by the social justice, community, man.
The liberals.
Yeah. I saw a lot of
You
YouTube
understand why, right?
videos.
You understand why, right?
What's your take on why?
Because the liberals always want to sit down and say, "Oh, we're the beneficent crew. We're down with you, man. We're this, we're that. You guys are savages. Just as bad, just as fucked up. You playing a slightly different game, though, but same old, same old, same."
Well, I think
they don't want to be perceived that way, but it is what it is.
Yeah, because the liberals are classes also. Like that whole movie is like about class and social standing. And it doesn't matter if you're part of the alphabet gang or social justice warrior. All of you are seen as above this guy.
Right.
Yeah, Arthur in the movie.
Right.
So, you know.
And at the end of the day, that's true. That's true.
All he needed was a black BMW.
There you go.
That's all he needed.
Interesting. Yeah, pretty intense movie. I thought they really hit some real key points here. It was, like I said, I think it was a very harsh commentary on our side. I would like to have other people come in with other views, man. I would like to see others who have seen this. Some people might think we're out of our minds on this.
I think one of the reasons why the little social justice blah 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 had such a problem with this movie is, first of all, the lead character is not a woman. Because they are not going to say that Birds of Prey is a toxic femininity movie. Okay. And it doesn't have anything but Harley Quinn going crazy in the movie. So they're not going to have that kind of commentary. I'm almost guaranteeing that Birds of Prey will be more violent than the Joker movie, which we don't really see any violence until the end of that movie, truly, any real violence, not any more than any other action film. And in point of fact, less. So they're not going to have that commentary for Birds of Prey. And they're doing it because the lead character is male. And not only is he a man, they are making this character, for all intents and purposes, sympathetic.
Well, I think you bring up a good point. Yeah, you bring up a really good point as far as being sympathetic towards this character. You shouldn't be feeling any sympathy towards the Joker, but that's where they put the onus on the system that really kind of helped to kind of create this guy. And even though it seems to me that Phillips was suggesting this guy was just generally kind of just overall kind of fucked up, from the get-go, but the system consistently kind of failed and let him down. So you're supposed to have some sympathy for this guy who ends up turning out to be, a super terrorist, a savage killer, that we see shooting up your schools and, running and, shooting up the, the postal station, standing on top of buildings in Vegas and shooting people down and doing all this kind of stuff, to turn out to be. Or even the very Joker that jumped out of the movie theater and shot people there as well. And that parallel was kind of made in this movie too. So I think he was hitting real close to home here. So but you weren't supposed to be sympathetic towards that. So that's a very good point. That's without question.
If I may comment to Cyber 7, I know that we aren't necessarily speaking from a comic guru, I guess, sort of point of view. I don't think any of us. Well, I speak.
Man, boy, man, girl.
I speak. I'm a comic geek, but I never collected or truly read DC comics.
Yeah,
I know enough about Batman and Joker to know their history, but not necessarily the comic canon that would have been originally written down or presented. But at the same time, I don't think that we're reading too much into the movie. We know that it is an origin story for a comic book character, but at the same time, I mean, we would be foolish not to understand that in this day and age, all of the pop culture that we see, the movies and the music all have several layers because it is social programming. They don't call them programs for nothing. So there is social commentary, there is social programming. And if you're going to watch such a movie with, for lack of a better term, a red pill mind, and actually watch that movie, you actually see what they are commenting on and why they're commenting on it. So this is why we're peeling back the layers. We're not necessarily critiquing the character or necessarily even the making of the movie, because I think we all like the movie very much. I know I did. But there are several layers, and this is what we're trying to discuss and peel back.
Yeah, it's an onion. It's definitely an onion.
Yeah.
The more you peel it back, the more you're like, oh shit. I'm not sure why anybody would have any issue with us actually having this discussion. We don't have to read the comic book, just to understand what we just saw on the screen. I don't see anything relevant to the comic itself that has, women in elevators, single mothers, and he ends up smashing them anyways. Raw.
Unless I missed something, unless there was something in the comics back in the day that.
No, I've did a little bit of research, man. I don't recall any of these characters, and that's why I said before that the black males in the movie are just invisible props, man.
Invisible props and children.
And the black women are visible props, and only in the end for a incel to to take out this system, and but I don't see any black women protesting it though.
We took her out, and that was on purpose. That was not an accident. Did that on purpose, and took a black woman out on purpose.
Let me address this in the chat real quick, man. Hooded one says Joker never had sex with that woman. It doesn't matter if he had sex or not, man. It's the imagery that matters, man. The imagery.
You mean like literally? Like yeah, they didn't. I don't think they literally did it. No,
this isn't Billy Bob. Yeah, this isn't Billy Bob and Halle Berry.
Yeah.
Just what we're saying is if you put that image out there, you're sending a message, right? To me as a black male, as a black man, that's what I see when I first saw the movie. I was like, oh, wait a second, how did this happen?
So it sounds like the message is that for incel, the black woman is the easiest target. If you want
right.
And the swirlers would definitely understand what this was about.
Right, because you remember, because I don't know, the rest of you guys are probably not have not been on YouTube long enough, but in Manosphere 1.0, there was a woman from Boston named Ruth Lynn who did a boyfriend tag on YouTube with her swirling white husband. Okay, this was a famous case on YouTube, and they did a boyfriend tag, and it went viral, and other swirling black women came out and said, "Oh, I slept with that same dude," and broke that marriage up on YouTube on a live stream.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, you're very good, Mike. I almost forgot about that one. But
I remember that thing vividly, and they blame black men for it.
What?
They blame black men for it.
Yes, sir.
Oh
yes, sir.
Somebody broke up somebody's marriage on some. You know what? I don't know nothing about that.
So no, I know that this might be before your time on YouTube. This happened in real time. This is when people used to show their faces on YouTube. They did a boyfriend tag. This chick showed her husband. This dude was the biggest dork incel that I've ever seen before. And beautiful sister too. Beautiful sister, Ruth Lynn.
Aren't they always?
And
yes.
These other chicks came out and said, I slept with this dude, showed text messages, broke that marriage up.
And he was smashing others. He was smashing them out.
All on YouTube. All on
YouTube. Smashing them out. And the whole marriage broke up, and people were saying, "Oh, what's going on here?" And then I think she tried to come on and was crying one day about the breakup relationship.
Black men for that? How
they blame Sergeant Willie Pete? They blame Sergeant Willie Pete for it.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Pete and them came out crying on that ass, crying on it. They went in on it. They went in on it. They went in. Pete, I'm trying to think. Did Thug say anything? I don't know if Thug said anything, but a few other
Everybody laughed at her, but the point of the matter is Sergeant Willie Pete called that out. Sergeant Willie Pete is instrumental in a lot of this stuff, man, in terms of pushing this narrative, man. Because even Cheska Lay, he called out Cheska Lay before she even went onto VH1. Before she got to VH1 through YouTube. He was calling her out.
Yeah, see, all that went down, and brothers were screaming on it, and then that's when, sisters went nuts. They did try to blame brothers for that, and it was crazy. See, brothers then had more manners.
Right. And see, Harcel Adept in the chat says he remembers that. Anybody who was around back then knows exactly what I'm talking about. That was a famous. Yeah, that was about 10 years ago.
Now, were they targeting like the quote unquote lames specifically, or is this predate the lame Pookie?
This was around that Pookie versus Educated Lame.
So
but
they were kind of just this is scattering the shots. This is at all black men, basically.
It's more about the black male content creators, right? This sort of demographic who are standing up for brothers, the MRAs and stuff like that.
Very much so.
Basically, because the question, because she made like various live streams after that and various uploads.
She did. She was on one crying and saying that she didn't know. She was on apologizing and all the stuff that went on.
And the question as to why she didn't choose a brother,
they can't. I mean, she took she ended up leaving, but she took a critical batch, and it looked very bad. See, Crystal and Carrison and all them, they ain't want to bring that kind of shit. They want to talk about that back then.
No, because
they didn't want to get into that. They didn't want to get into that. Well, Crystal she was a little bit later, but all that went on, and no, like I said, they've been blaming us for a lot of shit. We won't get on into that right now, but yeah, they blaming us for a lot of shit. They blame us. They blame the brothers for that.
I'm still trying to figure out how do you spin doctor the chick slept with your man and your man, and that broke your marriage up, and then somehow that was black men's fault.
Well, because what they were saying was that black men poked and prodded at her relationship on an IR level. They put they put that under the microscope. And to an extent, I think brothers did do that, but they weren't the cause of that, right? So
they weren't the cause of that. And the sisters were talking mad. They were talking mad shit back then, and that's when cats like the Thug and them went in, and they were masterful.
Dude, the cause of it,
they were masterful in their responses.
The cause of it was the dude who was screwing around on his chick. He's the cause of it. Okay, wouldn't black men in no fucking way, shape, or form. I get sick and fucking tired of being blamed for shit I had nothing to do with.
Yeah, and their
really
response.
Sick and tired of this shit.
You hit it right in the head. Sergeant Willie Pete and all them, they went in masterfully on that. They went in masterfully on that, and it caused a lot of problems. And then that's when the false, and if Mike remembers, then the false flagging went on. They had a lot of crazy stuff going on after that. It just started to boil over. But that was that was a key point there. That was key. That certainly was. I almost forgot about that, Mike. Damn.
Yeah, I have a very good social media memory. Go ahead, Kendra.
Exactly, Rain. Black men are the reason my hair is nappy. Y'all are at fault for, you feel me, the darkness of my skin. We just gonna blame y'all.
We also are at fault for Pookie not becoming lame.
You at fault for a lot of stuff.
We are at fault for every fucking thing.
Yeah.
Well, why not? And if this white dude would, this white beau, her white beau is what she called him. If this dude was black, he would just be a incel or just a lame. And it's a shame that narrative gets pushed onto black males, onto black men in social media, but never onto these white males, right? This sort of white male. If you would have saw him, he was taking out her weave in some of those videos. He was doing spitballs, putting straws up his noses and, wearing her wigs. It's
holy crap.
It's crazy, man, how they allow this white male to maintain his masculinity unchecked, unquestioned. Whereas for black men, if he was to do that, he would just be he'd be a cigarette, English cigarette.
And that was part of the commentary that they had up here in the Joker. When
Right.
he was up in there, rolling with homegirl. Okay, people say he must, but up in there, quasi smashing, if you will.
Mhm.
Access, total access to it, no questions.
Right.
Unmasculine looking dude,
masculinity.
weak looking,
Mhm.
no nothing on him, A skinny ass sucked up looking freaking sucker leg. That's how he looked. But he was still he was still in there. So a lot of that's what I'm saying. Phillips, he called that. That shit was not accidental. This man has had experience.
Mhm.
That's what
Listen,
I'm saying. Like,
go ahead, Alvin.
I was saying, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, when he had that fantasy, he was like, "Oh, I should be able to get this woman." So it was revealed at the end, like, "Oh, I actually didn't have her." He was like, "So if I can't get a black woman, then what the heck can I get?" He's like, he's womanless, motherless.
Mhm.
He can't hang out with the boys because he's crazy. Like, he's just denied by like everything.
Oh yeah, he has
He
has ED.
Yeah, he probably has ED. He got no meat on his bones. Goddamn.
No traps, no rhomboids, spinal erectors looking crazy.
And it's all your fault, Mike.
Spinal erectors looking crazy, no delts.
Yes, up late at night watching Perry Mason or some crazy shit.
I was like,
Mason.
was that literally Perry Mason? Was he watching MASH? What the?
I don't know. It's obviously some kind of classic show, man. But
I was
clavicle sticking out prominently.
Jesus.
Dude would suck a laid. But anyway, there you go.
Yeah. But it's so you can relate it to a lot of things you see within social media, especially the manosphere, man. The sort of swirling aspect, the proximity of black women to white males, always available, always accessible. Disgruntledness of the white male, we would call them wiggers. In a looming economy similar to what happened in 2008, they're allowed to express themselves, their disgruntledness with the system. Black men are not. You're just, invisible props in the modern society.
System, I guess.
You don't matter.
You failed to impose yourselves. You don't dominate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've been dominated.
You've been dominated.
Oh yeah, y'all all forgot about that. Yeah, y'all are dominated.
Mm-hmm.
Dominated.
Yeah.
I would love to see their commentary on this, but I don't want to hold my breath.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's why I asked Kendra that question earlier. Like, I'm like, it was what goes on in the mind of a sister looking at this, like, to see like what pivotal parts they play, right? Like, even from from sort of like a more of a subconscious angle, like if they're cognizant of what they're looking at, like,
are they cognizant of anything? That's the question that we have to ask.
Or maybe that's the question I should be asking.
What does go through the mind of a flightless, dirty-footed bird when they watch something on the screen? I don't know. They might have liked the Joaquin Phoenix and was like, yeah, I would get with him, because he always been weird looking anyway. So I don't know why they would.
Yeah, he becomes this sort of exclusive non-black male, right? Because King Sigma, shout out to King Sigma, he did an excellent podcast this week exposing these women on Twitter who are out there cupcaking for these sort of jokers, if you will. Knocking other women for trying to talk to black men, but while talking about, oh, we need to keep the race together and our race is dying and we need to maintain it, while she's behind the scenes, twerking it up for some joker.
For the joker, for the joker, laughing like a madman with no muscle, no nothing, no intelligence, no nothing on his ass.
It's crazy, dude. It's absolutely crazy. It's so reminiscent of what goes on in real time here. I mean,
I'm telling you,
man.
Phillips had firsthand experience, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That shit, yo, Complex. Was that an accident? Is that an accident? In
No,
a movie?
if look, nothing that is scripted is not an accident.
Nah, man, nah. I'm telling you, when I looked at this, I told homegirl, I was like, listen, he had firsthand experience. She was like, well, maybe he didn't. I was like, hey, the hell he didn't. So,
As if what you just saw in a scripted movie was all coincidence.
Nah, man, no chance, baby.
Come
No
on.
chance.
You guys were saying earlier how like, what would it take for like the social justice people to get outraged about this? Like, I mean, you get really, really outraged. If all they had to do instead of him, are we allowed to do spoilers? Are we good with spoilers?
Man, we didn't spoil the shit out of this movie.
Okay.
Man.
Yeah,
we ain't really spoil it. Not yet. We ain't really spoil it.
Man,
there's shit that we got to be talking.
Do what you do, man. Do what you do. Do what you do.
He killed his mom at the end, right? If they really wanted to get outraged or black women to get outraged, he could have also, instead of killing his mother, killed that psychiatrist lady. Because both were motherly figures in his life.
You mean the civil service worker?
Civil service worker. Both were.
He got our ass as well. But anyway, like I'm saying, yo, the Joker got live. He got exceedingly live up in
live.
He got exceedingly
because
live.
at the end of that, we are actually left to believe that he did get her.
He got her ass.
Because
the way he cold swagged up, he got her ass.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I think that was the ending was really interesting to me. I don't know if anybody else it was interesting for, because here we were watching this movie that the Joker could have been anybody, right?
Yeah.
He could have been any guy. And there's this super serious tone to the point where you can forget that you are watching a movie about a comic book character.
That's my whole thing.
And then at the end of it, at the very end is where you get the whimsy. The very end. Like as he walks down the hall, this is the only place that you get Joker's whimsical side because he has one. It's crazy, but he has one. Right? It's off the wall, but it's there, right? And this is the only place. And I guess in a way it's fitting because only at the end is he really the Joker. But I found that was an interesting thing for them to do at the end of the movie.
You saw his evolution. He was after he blasted after he blasted De Niro on the grill. He was a Joker right there. I'm sorry, that was it. That was it.
That was.
Either he was going to kill himself or he was going to take, because he originally went there to kind of take himself out, but he went in there. When he took him out, I was like that. They're the Joker right there.
When he kissed the doctor, I was blown away. So that was before he took out De Niro. I was like, "Whoa, look at this dude!"
Yeah. So he was a Joker. So he was and he had to get that black female in the end. You know that. you know that.
Well, don't forget he already killed his man in the in his apartment.
Yeah. So
and he intimidated the little midget too, man.
Yeah. So you know he was getting
that was the funniest.
That was actually kind of funny because he does something there that is really Jokerish, that is in the final evolution of who the Joker is. Because the Joker would have done something like that. He would have been like, you know what I'm saying, like scare the hell out of the little guy.
Yeah.
Knowing that he can't get out of the apartment, and then when he passes him by, like kind of reach for him, like, haha, I got you, and then let him go. So these are the things that the Joker will do. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll mow down like a group of people with a machine gun, and then in the next instance, he'll be squirting you with water out of that flower and laughing hysterically that you fell for it. So I mean, this is the type of thing, and this is kind of why I like the Joker so much, because he is that character. He is that character. Like he finds glee and joy.
The Joker was ill. He was ill.
Like Method Man in that Wu-Tang skit, man. Also your asshole clothes and keep feeding you. That's some Joker shit, man.
Nah. He was ill. Somebody said, that we missed it when he killed the dude and they let the midget go. No, I ain't missed that. That was a Joker right there. That was the Joker, fam. That was the Joker doing his thing.
Yeah, man.
He wasn't gonna light the midget up. Man, nah, man, it was okay, man. He wanted to get the other dude. Man, midget was right. So
Couldn't get out the room. He couldn't get out the room because he's too short for the door. Like that shit was fucked up, man. You have to be
man.
really
I mean,
cold-hearted, man,
that
to
was
write
the
something like
Joker.
that in.
That was the Joker right there. So I'm just saying, man. You know, it was like I said, he got exceedingly live in the end. So like I said, I know there's going to be a part 2 to this, so maybe they'll put him into the upcoming Batman film. But if he does, this guy will be just as good as Heath Ledger did a great job. He definitely did a great job. He was a bugged out dude as well, but he did a great job. A straight terrorist. Joaquin, he picked it right up. He picked it right up. Put a slightly different edge on it, but he picked it right up. I think he picked it right up. But
yeah,
too many Easter eggs in there, too much stuff in there that you cannot look at and say, "Wow, this is just a coincidence." No chance.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But 5 or 7, this movie doesn't comment on that. Joker evolves into a criminal mastermind, but we don't get to see the level of intelligence that he actually has in this origin story. We can't forget this is just his origin story.
You don't see that until the Jack Nicholson Joker.
Yeah, like we're all familiar with what he evolves into, whether you read the comic books or not. But for this particular movie, as they are going through his origin, they are not touching on what his intelligence level actually is, because this is a man that's going through a metamorphosis, right? I mean, he's having all of these episodes and these delusional things, and he's got a lot of things going on in his mind. And he admits that it's only clearing up when he stops taking his medicine. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? We don't see the full potential of what his mind actually is, because he's been tampered down with the psych medicine that he's been taking. So, and which has made him docile, but it also, has basically sort of clouded him. He's living in a fog. So we don't get to see what he actually is capable of as far as the type of mayhem that he causes. We know that Joker is the agent of chaos. We know that that's what he is. He revels in it. We only see that at the end, though.
We only kind of get a glimpse of it. Like I kind of liked it when he was in the riot and he kind of just sneaked past all the security in the opera house.
Yeah,
and he just kind of got to Wayne, Thomas Wayne, super easily. That for me was kind of like a little glimpse into like how he thinks as a criminal. He's an invisible man. He's an incel. No one pays attention to him. He used it for his benefit. He just super sneak past security. I thought that was just a tiny glimpse until it's like, oh shoot, he's changing. He's getting the hang of this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you guys go. I gotta get back to work.
Hey, have a good one, bro.
You too, guys.
Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, I wonder, because somebody in the chat says this is one and done.
Nah, man. Hollywood's about the money. If this thing really starts to blast the dollars up, they'll come up with part 2.
I think this one might be one and done. Not to say that they wouldn't put this Joker in other iterations of the Batman, but I don't know that they're going to do a part 2 to this. Because how do you do a part 2 to an origin story? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of interesting if you try to do that. So
there are already people talking about a part 2. There are already people talking about it.
Yeah.
People who are in the industry. People in the industry. I mean,
this is separate from DC, right? Because it's just Warner Brothers doing this, right?
Warner Brothers did this, but this is based on a DC comic because it came from Bob Kane.
Yeah.
So this is DC. So this is this is DC. But the Joker, definitely, and I believe in the Batman series they did have an origin piece of the Joker, and it was I didn't read the whole thing. But they did have the Joker in there, and they got a lot of material to do a part 2 on this guy. They got something going on there. Yeah, so this could actually this could go there. It could go there.
I mean,
I'm not saying that it won't, but all this money coming down from this, if this thing does very well at the box office, and I suspect you're going to see some Academy Awards out of this as well. I can't see how Hollywood just they can't pass that up, man.
No, this is gonna do very close to what Black Panther did.
Yeah. So it's going to be some cat. It's too many frog skins flying on this one. They're definitely going to have to do a part 2 on it. It's going to demand.
Well, I don't think they'll do a part 2, but it sounds to me like somebody else is going to have to pick up the storyline on a different production in order to continue Bruce Wayne's involvement as well.
We'll see. I know they got a Batman movie coming out in I think next year in 2020 June or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, they're producing one right now. So I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, I mean, look at all the iterations of Star Wars and all that came out of there, man. They even had one called Solo. That was a piece of garbage, but yet, you know, they just keep making them. So that's just kind of Hollywood's business model. I can't see how this is going to be one and done. I don't see it. I think there's going to be another one, and it's going to be ill as well. But that's what I believe. I mean, I could be wrong, but
hi everybody.
What's going on, Thalia?
I was gonna jump in for the Joker because I haven't seen the movie yet, but I heard many acclaims and many critics talk about it. My take on the Joker, because I read a commentary about how, you know, today villains are glorified because now they got this Maleficent movie coming out. And I had to defer from that because I disagree with it. I don't think people are glorifying the Joker necessarily. They just understand what the Joker means, you know. You grow. It was that old quote that you say, if you live long enough, you become the villain.
I'm not familiar with that, but go ahead.
Well, it's basically a quote that I think it was some other comic book, but it's basically a quote that shows that, you know, people don't really sympathize with the Joker. They're more like empathize because they see him in a way that they'll see themselves. If I get what I'm saying, because that's why he's so iconic. Because he of course he's crazy and he's sadistic. We all know that, but the mysterious of what goes on in his mind is very interesting.
Well, you know what, Thalia? Your assignment tomorrow is to go see the movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna see the movie. I gotta go see it.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it either. And that quote came from Harvey Dent. That was on the it was funny. That was actually on the Dark Knight. Well, not the Dark Knight, but the Batman where Heath Ledger was Joker. Harvey Dent said that as a quote. If you live long enough, you'll
become the villain.
Become the villain, yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of people, I see a lot of commentaries. I saw some Christian commentaries saying that a lot of people are moving to the nihilistic side of things, that there's no nothing. You know, like Black Pill kind of say.
Well, that's kind of what I was questioning about was Red Pill. To me, he wasn't a Red Pill guy. He really became more on the nihilistic end and vengeance and just vengeance for the sake of it. And he's just, you know, he's basically, for all practical purposes, you know, you can say whatever it is. He's, as a Joker, he's a weapon against society. And it was a very nihilistic view. You know, I thought it was quite Black Pill. And I think some people in the chat actually dropped the Black Pill thing, but I didn't want to say anything because I just wanted to hear the young lady describe Red Pill pretty much. But I think this was very Black Pill, very Black Pill.
Well, I've seen Nietzsche's works. I've seen it, and Voltaire. So I'm not say I know, but I'm familiar with the Black Pill philosophy.
Black
so
Pill?
I'm gonna see. Black Pill philosophy. So I'm gonna go see this Joker because I'm just quite intrigued. You know, Joker has always been a fascination to me. He's like an archetype for the insane villains.
Well, he was always the most dangerous villain that Batman always faced because the Joker was in the comics. You know, he was a guy. You know, you had other villains who would do some kind of crazy things, but the Joker was a stone cold killer, and he was very much a match for Batman. Very much a match for Batman. The Joker was no joke. He was a problem, and he was of the most psychotic, but brilliant, but of the most psychotic characters that Batman had to deal with. That's why he had such difficult times with the Joker.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Cause I seen like a lot of archetypes from the Joker, even in the anime sphere, like a couple of them. The only one I can know is from the one from Hunter x Hunter. And he's crazy. He just loves to fight. He gets off for fighting people. Just fighting and killing people.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you gotta be a strong, I think his name was, someone could say, I think it's Hisoka. Yeah. Because it reminds me of the Joker. And I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was saying the insanity is quite interesting.
Oh shit!
I gotta go see it. Have to see it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of controversy about this movie. So
And hey, Mike, man, I gotta be in the city at 9 a.m. man.
Yeah, I'm about to end this right now myself.
Yeah.
So
Well.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us, man. This was actually pretty interesting and went longer than I anticipated. But definitely hit the like button if you have not already done so, and share the video if possible. Hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust. Thank you to Kendra D for coming through and actually participating in this as well. You can follow her at youtube.com/The Crimson Cure. With that being said, man, peace and shalom.